discussion on what we're going to be getting into today mainly involves one of the 11 supernova, jewelry Bonney, and really I just want to get into it, man. So let's do it. This theory/discussion is, as usual, a supposition on top of a supposition. I believe Jewelry Bonney has been forced for quite some time, up until before the time skip, to use her ability to keep the Gorousei from aging. And extrapolating from there, did Akainu allow Bonney to go free as a move against the Gorousei? I think so. This entire discussion came about because of this panel of manga that shows Akainu chastising the Gorousei, aka the Elder Stars, his bosses, for how they allowed Cypher Pole to manipulate the news and print fake stories for Doflamingo. The anger he shows seems to be genuine. Supposing that Akainu takes this breach of trust seriously enough, I believe he's the kind of person who would eliminate anyone, including his own bosses, if they don't live up to his idea of justice. If he would kill Kobe, why not the Gorousei? Well, more than likely because their collective power is much more than Akainu can handle himself, so he needs a plan, but it doesn't seem even feasible. Then Akainu receives a mission to retrieve a pirate that had escaped custody, a pirate that had just attacked and was subsequently subdued by Blackbeard. I speculate this was a direct and emergency mission given straight from the Gorousei. Their panicked nature of asking a fleet admiral to pick up one pirate that had already been defeated and subdued raised suspicion in Akainu, I think. Speculation disclaimer, of course. Upon learning of her power, it isn't hard to understand why these old farts, in Akainu's words, want with Bonney. She has the power to keep them alive, to keep them young-ish. But why do I believe Bonney has been using her power on them in the past? Well, number one, you can't determine how old Bonney is due to her ability. She can age down and progress to elderly. And secondly, because Akainu says she had already escaped custody, presumably sometime before the Subodhi arc. And thirdly, because we see the Elder Stars 22 years ago in the story ordering the deaths of the citizens of O'Hara, and they haven't aged in the least in 22 years. And how is that possible naturally? We've seen everybody else age in that time period. Sengoku, Garp, such. Seeing Bonney chained up after the fight with Blackbeard, Akainu makes it seem like he was frightened when he learned she had escaped. But I think he was really reflecting how scared the Gorousei acted concerning her escape. So all seems very bad for Bonney, but in the very next chapter, following her, quote, capture, we see her in a completely different climate, eating a piece of pizza, reading the newspaper, not things usually associated with being a prisoner of the world government. Seemingly free of the Marines. What happened? In my opinion, I think Akainu, in his anger towards the Gorousei for what they had just done, let Jewelry Bonney go, possibly, if I'm correct, to allow the Gorousei to age naturally and finally die. That may mean all of their political and military power then falls to Akainu. If this were the case, I think he would become somewhat of a dictator. That might mean that, all of their political and military power would fall to Akainu, and he would be a dictator who might not even answer to the celestial dragons. I imagine if this happened, the war on piracy would be taken to new, even more lethal heights. But yeah, that's it, man. Another theory from yours truly, C9 Revelator. Up on the cloud, man. I want y'all to stay free, stay safe, stay armed. I hope you and your people are never harmed. And we out.